I think people completely misunderstood what Google AntiGravity 2.0 really is. I mean, everybody keeps talking about the missing ID and the terminal and other stuff. But after spending days using AntiGravity 2.0 properly, I genuinely think this tool is trying to change how developers work entirely. So in this video, we're going to explore everything that Google AntiGravity 2.0 is about and why it matters to us. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's get into it. Yeah. So if you don't already have AntiGravity installed, I will have this linked in the description below so you can access it. What you do is you come on here, scroll to the bottom. Wait, you just click the download over here. Yeah, you click the download button, and as you can see, there's 2.0 over here. As well, there's the CLI and the 1.1 that we're used to, which is the IDE itself. But I'm not going to get into that. This tutorial is particularly for the 2.0 only. So you just come on and select whichever one favors you. I've already got it installed, so I'm going to pull it up. Now, when you open it for the first time, this looks weirdly minimalistic for some reason, right? I mean, there's no IDE here, there's no terminal like people keep saying, but that's really not the emphasis here. I mean, look at how minimalistic it looks. On this side, there's the left side pane, which is to create new conversation, to check out your conversation history. As well, you can schedule tasks. Let me just click it so you see how it works. And you click on the new, you can schedule tasks. So in my line of work day, we are supposed to commit every single day to a specific repo, right? So I could do it, any time of the day, and then simply schedule it here so that at the time of need, it could simply just commit to the repo and I don't have to lift a finger, right? So that is one typical use case of this whole new Google AntiGravity 2.0. And when you look further down, you can see there's projects over here. Now, this typically shows you every single project you've opened in AntiGravity or you have on your device, right? And below that, we have the conversation history. So you can select any specific one and look at how clean it looks. I mean, everything is centered properly and you can open into, images, everything else, right? So one more thing though, there's also this settings button here. Now, what I love the most, as much as there is the general settings here, which allows you to customize your permissions, your appearance, select the models. AntiGravity uses these default models, so you can't really choose between them. So you can see the models, you can customize the appearance and your MCPs and the skills or whatever. Say you want to add a new MCP here, you could, let me say GitHub, you could look it up in here and then you can connect to it. You can simply do a whole lot with it, right? You could also customize your browser preferences and the app. But what I like most is this project settings in here. So you can select a specific project and inside that directory, every specific setting you want to make is in here, right? So that would apply specifically to that directory. So you don't have to customize it to work for everything else, just that specific directory. And also you could do the same with conversations and with shortcuts, and as well provide feedback. So say you come across a bug or you want to request a new feature, it's over here. And one thing I know is Google AntiGravity actually listens. People were complaining about the whole IDE stuff, and I'll get to that in a minute. I just want to chip that in. They listened to that and they made a fix to it as well. So let me just click new conversation here so we get a new level ground for all of us, right? So say you come in here and you want to start a new project. You could simply click this over here like this, start a new project, and name it as such. So add folder. You can just create one here and then name it as such. So I'm going to head to the desktop. Yeah, in here, maybe create a new folder. I don't even know what to call it at now. So let me just say tut for tutorial sake and select that folder. Now we're inside the tuts folder. Let's just select it. Start first conversation as well. So we do not want to specify any specific settings at the moment with this specific folder, right? The one we just created. So now we're inside the tuts folder like this. And as much as we're already used to these things, I'd like to re-enunciate them because now there's Gemini 3.5 Flash. And it's not really the fastest model out there, and it's not the most intelligent model too. However, it's like a mix between those two. so it's not really expensive at that, and it's definitely competent as well. So I'm going to select the medium model. Wait, let me just set it to the high. Yeah. So we're going to build, say, and one thing too that I would like to get into is with the slash command or with the actions commands, we only have 4 specific ones. So there's the grill me, which basically helps you to align on a plan when you're developing something. There's also the slash browser, which, I mean, as it says, it's self-explanatory. It helps you invoke a browser agent for web tasks, right? There's the schedule, which I talked about earlier on, and there's the goal. Now, this goal is very important because now we're seeing that a lot of these IDEs and CLIs are adapting it. What it does is it basically allows you to specify a specific goal for, say, Gemini or Opus 4.7 or whatever agents that you're using or harness that you're using, and it's going to completely iterate through that specific goal until it is achieved. So if it has to go through 10 steps, it's going to go through those 10 steps. If it encounters an issue, it's going to make sure that issue is fixed and the goal is met before coming back to you. So I'm going to ask it to create me a complete Pac-Man game. Sorry about the spelling error. It's really not a problem. Now, what I wanted to bring to your attention, what I meant by Google AntiGravity actually listens, is what you're seeing over here like this. Now, in here, you can see there's the IDE which we are used to. Now, when you click this open IDE, I don't have it installed at the moment, but the point is, when you click it, you're able to open the editor, which we already know, which is AntiGravity 1.0. Now, that editor is where you're able to edit every file that you want to edit, all of the specific customizations that you want to make in that specific directory, right? But as well, there's this right pane over here. Now, this shows you all of the sub agents, all of the files changed. Wait, I think my internet disconnected. Give me a second over here. Okay, so it's connected back. So you have sub agents, all of the sub agents that are triggered to go and work on a specific file, every single thing that needs to be done. Give me a second. I think my internet is messing up a bit. Okay, so we're connected back again. So all of the sub agents, if you have 4 sub agents on a specific task, you can monitor all of them in here, all of the file changes that were made in a specific file, the artifacts used, all of the background tasks that were triggered, and as well you can review them. So I'm going to give this command a bit of a time to run through for some of the files to be generated so I can explain further what I mean by those. Okay, so as you can see, it's going through all of the iterations to get our command done for us, the specific goal to be achieved. Now, what I want to say at this point is, as you can see, the files that it's changed, all of the artifacts that it's making, everything is seen here. You can see them, you can go through all of them like you want, and say you want to make some changes to a specific file, right? You can just click through that specific file, see all of the code in here. Say you want to change this, you can just add a comment here, or you can just review it thoroughly, every single file in the directory, right? So everything that you see that you like, you can keep. Everything that you would want to change, you can just prompt the AI back to change it for you. Now, as you can see, it's asking a couple of questions, so I'm going to allow this time and then submit. So it's going to proceed on from there as well, and I'm going to start the server up so we can see the rest of the work that it's doing, right? So let's just wait for it to finish. Okay, so it's done with the generation. Now it's asking that we open this in our browser to see what it looks like. Okay, so this is the customized Pac-Man game that we asked it to create for us. Let's see if it works. Really, what is going on here? Because the game does not seem to be working fine. Really? Okay, so let's just submit the error back to AntiGravity to see if we can fix it. So we are able to boot up the game. We're able to open it up. However, it doesn't seem to be working. Everything seems a little crappy. Can you work on that and make sure it works? Maybe trigger a browser command so we can see it in action. Yeah. Okay, so the prompt is ready, so we're sending it back in. Okay, so now we're ready to test it in our browser using the browser feature like I said. So let me just paste in the HTTP link as well and then send it in there. Proceed anyway. So now it's going to open up a browser instance and then test out the game manually for us. Okay, so this is one thing to pay attention to. So as you can see, these are the basic things that we're used to in AntiGravity 1.0, which is the walkthrough and the task and the implementation plan. So I'm going to minimize this over here. And what you can see here is that there's a background task running, which is the server that we had started for the game to be boot up, right? And as well, we have a sub agent running here, which is the web browser sub agent. What it is doing is, wait, let me just accept this, submit for it to continue on with the work. So what it is doing ideally is, since we use the /browser command, the action actually, it's going to open up a web browser instance and then autonomously check everything that it needs on the web browser, so much so that the game would work correctly, or whatever specific thing that you're doing would work correctly, right? So it automatically opened the browser, and I'm sure it's going to test it out on its own and verify that everything is working correctly, and then reach back to us, right? So you can see the web browser instance is still working over here. You can see the files changed over here, and now you can see the background tasks has become 2 because the browser is also triggering a terminal command use, right? So as you can see, there's a message from the web browser which is saying, I have launched the Chrome. Let me allow this as well. So I'm not really looking into the command. This is a bit sloppy though. Do not do this when you are working on tasks yourself. Make sure to review and make sure that everything that it's launching is in line and it's not malicious, right? So you can see there's a couple of messages from the browser. Now, this is a whole lot to consume, right? I mean, as opposed to what we had before, this is completely better in the sense that before we were used to so much so as agent-assisted web development or agent-assisted development coding, right? Now it's more of agentic orchestration with the new AntiGravity 2.0. So you're not specifically doing everything on your own. However, you are the major orchestrator of every single thing that happens. So as you can see, all it is asking is commands to be able to run on the web browser. And I'm not doing it manually myself. It is triggering the browser command and then checking it with the AI agent every time. So it's like a to and fro to make sure that it completes and honors the goal that we had given it. So now that it's done, let me open it up myself to check if indeed what it did was according to the goals that we had set. Now as you can see, the browser agent is done. It says worked for 24 seconds. And let's just go and check it out if indeed what it did is the right thing we expected to. So I'm going to open up my web browser over here like this and just paste in here the command and open it up. Okay, so let's play, see how it works. Oh, come on. So it did not work. It's very sloppy at that. Nothing is working. I mean, I don't know if Gemini 3.5 is nerfed or whatever, but it's completely not working, which totally takes back the point of this tutorial. I mean, I'm trying to be nice with all of that, but then it's certainly taking me back. Like, how is it that you cannot create just a simple Pac-Man game, and yet you're supposed to be better than Gemini 3.1 Pro? Really? I guess I may have to wrap up the video here. So I don't even know what to say at this point. Very disappointing. not what I expected. But I hope you enjoyed it anyway, and do leave a like, subscribe, and see you in the next one.